5-time Champions League winners are back in town the second time this season. Spurs under pressure, Lewandowski goes back to Aaron Ramsdale, Owen this evening, and that was a shove there from Cancelo on Elanga. Not so, but it is a foul by Julian for now midway inside. Barcelona has up to 30 seconds to make the pavilion. Ready. Marquinhos. High to Steven. Hauling. 19-year-old midfielder in the ground. And a block clearance there. Barcelona clearance blocked by William Osula. Barcelona recovers back to Juan Garcia, all in green. Osula was charging him down, but Garcia gets it away. Now wins the header, now midway inside. Barcelona half to it. One of the penalty, well read. Right head, even right Trippier. And Langa on that right flank. Langa gets back to Cancelo, volleyed up and away for a corner kick. Early on by Gerard Martin and Andy Langa. Trying to get through Newcastle fans into this one as if they need any encouragement. Good work from Langa. Martin is sticking out left leg of that one, thinking the end really comes off his shin, but got the job done. But Newcastle still keeping Barcelona inside their own penalty area. Corner kick coming up here. Dan Burn attempting to be marshalled by Ronald Araujo. Right foot right swing corner from Barnes, goes deep looking for Chow round the back. Garcia punches at that one, and Yamal will get his first touch, but it's very deep inside his own half. But he's going to try and run here. Gets away from Tonali, but has his path blocked by Joelinton. Told to get up by the referee, but Tonali's pass to Osula is cut out by Martin. Now Pedri for Barcelona. And for Fermin Lopez. But Harvey Barnes gets in there. Newcastle certainly getting tore into those early challenges. Now here's Jacob Ramsey. Gets away from Pedri, approaching the penalty area on the right hand side. Here's Jacob Ramsey. Ramsey still going. Ramsey blocked by Cancelo, and it's another corner, 2.5 minutes in. And a second corner of this game already for Eddie Howe's men. So Chow, Byrne, Joelinton, Osula, a lot of big men in there for Harvey Barnes to aim at here. In fact, it's not Harvey Barnes taking this one, he's in there too. It's going to be Kieran Trippier. Right, Lewis Hall now will take a left footer in swing from Hall. In it comes, punched away by Garcia. Tonali nods it back in. Oh, it's dropped by Garcia and cleared off the line in the end there. Not sure which Barcelona player that was back on the line, backing on his goalkeeper. But mercifully so, Joan Garcia. His initial punch isn't a great one. Tonali just heads, nods it back in there. I don't know if Garcia is maybe unsighted, but it's Pau Cubarsí behind him on the line to clear that one away. So a shaky start for Barcelona. Now Lewis Hall with ball in hand is ready to launch this one into the penalty area. I think Marco Cuida wants to have a word first thing with Lamine Yamal, who's standing not 2 steps from the sideline, maybe trying to block or put off Lewis Hall with his throw in. Hall takes a run up here, launches it long. Chow flicks it on. Tonali back into the box, and well, that will roll through for Joan Garcia. But this has been a fairly ropey opening to this one for Barcelona. Elanga now blocked by Bernal with a strong challenge in there by Barnes, but Barcelona clear, and Burn will go back to Ramsdale on the edge of the penalty area. He plays right left looking for Lewis Hall, and he can't control, so the ball will go into the dugouts where we see Eddie Howe. Certainly domestically, I mean, things have not been going his way this season. I said sitting 12th in the table, placed below local rival Sunderland. But in Europe, things have certainly been going their way. As we get a look at the bench behind him there, Anthony Gordon, Joe Willock and Nick Voltemata all waiting in reserve tonight should their manager call upon them. That's back with Joan Garcia on the edge of his own penalty area. Just rolling the ball with his studs here, looking for some options. You need to use it quickly as Osula is bearing down on him. He gets it away. Robert Lewandowski wearing a one of the face masks, having picked up an eye injury a couple of weeks ago. Actually said in the build-up this one, and there's pictures to prove it, that he had a Newcastle shirt growing up, and now here's William Osula in a Newcastle shirt tonight. Left corner of the penalty area. Osula on his right foot, needs a bit of support, or does he? Osula blocked behind, another corner, this time off Gerard Martin, and 6 minutes in, it's a third corner of the game for Newcastle United. Really good work there from Lewis Hall to get away from Lamine Yamal. Nice ball down the channels for Osula. I thought maybe at one point I'd lost control of that ball, maybe just lost a bit of momentum, but the big Danish forward did very well to recover and win that corner kick. And that's going to be Tonali to deliver. Right-footed in-swinger from Sandro Tonali. It's deep, and this time it's caught by Joan Garcia. Much better, much more commanding from the Barcelona goalkeeper. He rolls this one out to Pedri. He plays a long ball through the middle there with Rafinha and Lewandowski chasing it down, but far too long. Takes a bounce and into the gloves of Ramsdale. And there's Ramsey, who slips as he receives the pass from Trippier, but manages to hold off a challenge of Pedri. Very nicely done there by Jacob Ramsey, and Chow back to Ramsdale on the penalty spot. Bird to Hall on the left hand side. Yamal closes him down, but Hall will play that one down the line for Barnes. Is he onside? So far, play on. We'll see if it comes back for a fly. Barnes cuts on his right foot. Barnes blocked by, well, it came off Araujo and off Kubarsi. Alanga's definitely offside, so he'll let that one run for a goal kick. And now the offside flag comes up. And well, far be it from me to be the old man complaining about modern football, but really, to me, if there's an offside, there's an offside. You just flag it as you see it. But that play went on for a good 10, maybe even 15 seconds before the linesman raised this flag, at which stage the ball had already gone out for what would have been a goal kick to Barcelona anyway. And instead they have a free kick up on the right hand side, just in front of the halfway line. Come back to Martin. He'll play one long for Lewandowski to chase. Dan Burn is there with him. Lewandowski, he's offside. That one's flagged a lot earlier. As I said, photographic evidence that he had a Newcastle shirt growing up. Said he had Alan Shearer's name on the back and did the famous Alan Shearer celebration. And tonight, certainly, big Polish forward will be looking to leave those here at St James's Park broken hearted. Ramsdale sends that free kick from midway inside his own half. Long, very long there. Byrne went up for it, nods it down for Joelinton. Barnes is offside, so Joelinton will chase his own flick on, and was he nudged out of that one by Marc Bernal? No, says Marco Guida, so throw in only to Barcelona on the right hand side, midway inside their own half, which Ronald Araujo will take. We're into 10 minutes gone here at St James's Park, and really it's been all Newcastle so far. Barcelona struggling for any sort of possession. There's Lewandowski robbed by Byrne, and he fouls Barnes, so free kick. Newcastle on the left hand side now, midway inside the Barcelona half. So Robert Lewandowski robbed of that one by Dan Burn, and in his haste to try and get it back, he sends Harvey Barnes to the turf. So free kick Newcastle. Black and white shirts and the highlighter orange shirts of Barcelona line up just along the edge of the D. It's going to be the right foot of Sandro Tonali or the left of Lewis Hall to deliver this one. Tonali instead will play it laterally to Kieran Trippier. He pings one out to the right corner of the penalty for Alanga. He sends it across, and Garcia again spills it but gets to it before Alanga. Joan Garcia not looking overly comfortable tonight, it must be said, in the opening 10 minutes. A training ground move there that nearly paid off for Newcastle. You can see what they're trying to do. But another spillage for Joan Garcia, and well, thankfully for him in Barcelona, that one, much like the one before, didn't have any grave consequences, but Not get away with that too many times. Here's Chow, the big German centre half for Newcastle. Arrows one across and finds Lewis Hall. Hall to Barnes. Again, that looks suspiciously offside. And this time the linesman does flag early. Maybe they heard me with my with my griping earlier. That's a couple of early offside flags since then. That one again was fairly clear to me. And to the linesman the far side. Here's Cancelo for Pedri, and he was fouled there by Ramsey, so free kick to Barcelona. Around 10 yards inside their own half, almost on the left touchline. Pedri will take and goes back to Martin. Now Kubarsi. Martin again. Looks as though Araujo, the captain, would be taking up more of a right back role this evening with two young centre halves, Kubarsi and Martin. That's a good touch by Yamal, but well marshalled out there by Lewis Hall, and he's just dragged to the ground rugby style there by Fermin Lopez. Now that's one that certainly you've seen plenty of yellow cards given for them, but I think Marco Guida just having a word with Fermin Lopez. And that's the first time I've mentioned Fermin Lopez. There's certainly been nothing for him going forward, and almost like a seat belt there with his arms either side of Lewis Hall's shoulders. Drags him to the ground, but not yet deemed worthy of a yellow card from our Italian official. Kubarsi wins a header above Barnes, but will drop again for Ramsey. Now Chow, midway inside his own half. Ramsey, a pocket of space in the centre circle. Tonali, one for a line, get a chase. He's going to test Cancelo, but too much sauce in the pass, and Garcia can come to the edge of his box and collect. Kubarsi. 1-2 with Garcia. Risky one. Osula is lurking. Nice flick on there from Rafinha to Lopez. Now Rafinha on the left hand corner of the penalty area, blocked by Trippier. It's going to be kept in on the left hand side by Cancelo. The other Premier League side taking on Spanish opposition tonight. The Metropolitano is Atletico Madrid 1, Tottenham Hotspur 0. You can catch that one here live on Flash Score Official as well. So here's Lopez. Yamal. Lewandowski, nice touch on the edge of the box. Rafinha left corner of the penalty area. Rafinha clips to the back post for Yamal. It's just behind him. He had to stutter his run. He does get it right corner of the penalty area. Goes past Lewis Hall. Ooh, and Hall just eased him out of that one there, but no penalty coming. Now Joe Linton is going to try and get this one away under pressure from Lewandowski, and he does. Does very well actually, to his credit, the Brazilian, and Lewis Hall in the end will hammer that one clear. Osula will chase and beat Kubarsi to it. And was he fouled by Kubarsi? Advantage played. Harvey Barnes, edge of the box, in for Alanga. Cross comes Cancelo, another corner. So both Osula and Kubarsi have stayed down after that coming together. But Marco Guida happy to play the advantage and giving a corner kick to Newcastle. Now look at that one. It's a strong challenge from Kubarsi. I think his issue in the end, I think Osula lands on him, does he? Actually ended up, I think, Osula catching him with a stray arm as he fell. Nothing untoward, and both are back on their feet now for this corner, which is going to be taken right-footed in-swinger for Sandro Tonali. Bayern Munich have also just taken the lead away at Atalanta. Josip Stanisic with the goal. Marcos Llorente incidentally scoring for Atletico against Tottenham. We're still goalless here. Sandro Tonali and Newcastle want to do something with that. In it comes, right-footed in swinger. A couple of bodies on the ground there, including Joe Linton, but volley clear in the end by Rafinha. Trippier beats Lopez to the loose ball, but a head tennis ensues. Bernal with it knocked down, now it's sent long for Rafinha to go on the end of right-hand touchline. Rafinha's into the penalty. There's 2-on-2 here. Rafinha will block by Hall. Not really sure if it was a shot or a cross, whatever it was. Well dealt with by Lewis Hall, and now Newcastle come away with Joe Linton. So this one of 3 8 p.m. kickoffs this evening. The Champions League last 16. Atalanta 0, Bayern Munich 1. Atletico Madrid 1, Tottenham 0. And then earlier in Istanbul, a repeat of the league phase result. Galatasaray defeat Liverpool 1-0. Here's Anthony Elanga in behind. Elanga tipped round the post by Garcia. Great save. That was so close to nestling in the corner there. I think in the end there is actually an offside flag up against Anthony Elanga. There is indeed, just offside. And the ball from Jacob Ramsey. A great save from Joan Garcia, just putting enough on it. Get it around the post, a true fingertip stop there from the Barcelona goalkeeper. Anthony Elanga kept at bay. So Newcastle very much enjoying this opening 16 minutes at St James's Park. Here's Pedri on halfway. Right on the right for Yamal. Kept quiet so far, but it doesn't take much for him to spark into life. Here's Araujo. And a couple of 1-2s there. Pedri, midway inside the Newcastle half. Rolls it inside to Kubarsi, and now Martin. Cancelo, left touchline, midway inside the Newcastle half now. Cuts infield and finds Marc Bernal, who scored a couple this day last week as Barcelona defeated Atletico Madrid 3-0. in the Copa del Rey semi-final second leg, but not enough to overturn the 4-0 first leg deficit. So they'll certainly be hoping that they go into the second leg at the Nou Camp next week in a much prettier position than that. Yamal cuts infield on his left foot, clips one out to the left corner of the penalty area for Rafinha, but just doesn't travel enough, and Trippier can side foot away. Cancelo picks it up now on the left wing, midway inside the Newcastle half. Back into the centre circle for Pedri, and now Araujo. 1-2 with Lopez. And now Pedri. Plenty of early touches here for the Uruguayan, wearing the captain's armband for Barcelona. Kieran Trippier, by the way, in case I didn't mention, wearing the captain's armband tonight for Newcastle. There's Araujo again now, inside his own half. Out to Kubarsi. Now Martin. Barcelona were in that game against Atletico Madrid, lost two full-backs to injury. Jules Koundé went off early. He was replaced by Alejandro Balde, who then also couldn't finish the game, so that's why they've got a couple of centre-half at right-back as Yamal is pulled to the ground there by Hall, and that's a free kick to Barcelona. Still no card being produced by our Italian official, but Lewis Hall need to be careful. He lost out there. Lopez and Yamal swarming him, and he had a good chunk of Yamal's shirt. But much like he did with Fermin Lopez, Marco Guida gives Lewis Hall a warning, and that will be all. So now, interesting free kick position here for Barcelona. There's lined up along the edge of the 18-yard box. Araujo and Byrne having a good old grapple there as we speak. Right foot delivery. Lopez, not a great one, flicked on by Araujo over the top. Not a great delivery there by Fermin Lopez. Scuffed that one slightly, and in the end Araujo got in front of Ramsey but couldn't guide it home, as we see Marcus Rashford sitting on the bench, the man who scored a double here in the opening league phase fixture back in September. A 2-1 win that night for Barcelona. Anthony Gordon pulling one back in stoppage time for Newcastle. Both of those players who probably you could say are on the periphery of Thomas Tuchel's plans for this summer's World Cup, both on the bench tonight. Here's Lopez to Cancelo. Pedri. Rafinha. Cancelo bombing on ahead, gets past Trippier. Now faced up by Kieran Trippier. It's Raul Cancelo. Rafinha gets to the byline, cuts it back. Oh, damn Byrne, goodness me. Nearly turned that into his own net. It's behind for a corner in the end. Had Ramsdale scrambling across his goal line there. Disappointing there from Barcelona perspective that there's nobody really busting Oh, great image there of Dan Burn. Well, he just, from behind the goals, he watched that one trickle towards the net. Well, you can imagine what the look on his face. Still a corner to deal with, but certainly a lot less of a concern that one had gone in, and Marco Guida is now concerned with Kieran Trippier and Paul Kubarsi battling in there. So in comes the corner deep, and it's too deep for Araujo. Will skip out for a goal kick on the far side. So not for the first time tonight, Barcelona waste a set piece. That time it was Rafinha, whose delivery was just too deep for anybody to get a look at. Araujo gets out above Joe Linton to win that header, but Joe Linton will get back and win it off Fermin Lopez. Barnes can't bring it with him now, and Bernal has it back for Barcelona. Now Yamal to Pedri, back to Araujo. So now Atletico Madrid 3, Tottenham 0, inside 15 minutes at the Metropolitano, and well, it never rains, it pours for a Tottenham fan right now. Just 2 places on 1 point above the Premier League relegation zone. Already sacked Thomas Frank. Igor Tudor now under pressure. Newcastle under pressure. Here's Rafinha. Gets into the box. Cancelo cut back, looking for Lopez, but Trippier clears. Only as far as Rafinha though. Deep cross looking for Yamal. Flicked on its way by Byrne. Yamal will get to it. Right corner of the penalty area. Has Araujo with him. Yamal though gets the byline. Drills it in off the side netting. He's looking for a corner. And he is going to get one in the end. Took a nick off a Newcastle player on the way through, so a corner kick for Barcelona. Just getting the... Yeah, well. Oh, it does indeed. Aaron Ramsdale it was whose hand touched that one into the side netting. Not sure he needed to, but corner kick nonetheless for the visitors. Rafinha, hopefully a better delivery this time. Plays it short to Lopez. Back to Yamal, and he's left that one short for Rafinha. Dreadful waste from Barcelona. Now Ramsey can break away as Alanga just left. Rafinha just credit tracks back well. Usula picks it up and then away in the end by Kubarsi. But a waste of a set piece massively there by Barcelona. Their set piece in the opening 23 minutes have just not been good enough at all. It's also now 2-0 to Bayern Munich. Michael Olise getting the second there. So early goals in the other 2 8 o'clock games. There's none here. Still goalless between Newcastle and Barcelona. For Atletico Madrid, by the way, Llorente, Griezmann and Alvarez have scored, which has prompted Igor Tudor to sub out Antonin Kimski and bring in Vicario in goal. Just a real mess at the moment for Tottenham. And while the Champions League is hardly their priority right now, their desperate domestic form has transferred onto the European stage. Meanwhile here with a free kick just inside the Barcelona half. Ramsey fighting Bernal. Now here's Martin. 25 minutes gone at St James's Park. It is Newcastle United 0, Barcelona 0, Champions League last 16. Now Mark Strange as Lamine Yamal will be flicked to get away from Joe Linton, but he'll now lock on to Pedri, but he gets it back to Yamal, who brings things almost to a stop there and decides to go back to Kubarsi, and now Martin back midway inside their own half. So Barcelona has 61% of the ball so far, 4 attempts compared to 3, but I will say that Newcastle had the better of the early going here, and they're pressing Barcelona there. Kubarsi now. Clips on forward. Chow wins a good header, but drops for Lewandowski. Now Lopez. Ramsey's on him, but Lopez turns away from him. Left corner penalty now is to Rafinha. Cancelo overlapping, but Rafinha ignores him. Finds Lewandowski, but just can't control, and Byrne can help it on its way to Hall, who will come away from Bernal. Well intercepted by a Araujo throw in. Newcastle on the left, just midway inside, just before the halfway line on the left hand side. Joe Linton clips one out to the right touchline for Trippier. Risky pass inside, but he finds Ramsey. Now Byrne. Hall. Barnes is being jostled there by Araujo, who himself is looking for the free kick. Not sure how he worked that one out, but anyway, play on. Brilliant crossfield pass there from Byrne to pick out Trippier on the right touchline, midway inside the Barcelona half. Clips one in for Ramsey. Ramsey's in the penalty area. If he could have got that one back to Osula. Instead he plays it on the right for Alanga. Clips one in deep and header from Osula on the roof of the net. Good build-up play there from Newcastle. Easy for me to save him up here that he could have found William Osula earlier, but Ramsey did really well to even keep that ball alive, and Alanga's clipped to the back post. Osula got up above Araujo, was stretching and leaning back, couldn't keep the header down. It lands on the roof of the net. Eddie Howe with a similar reaction to everybody else inside St James's Park there, leaning back and then head and hands. Araujo's under pressure from Barnes, gets it away down the right, but not very far, not very convincingly, albeit it did take a touch off of Harvey Barnes. So Newcastle throw on the right midway inside their own half. Sorry, a Barcelona throw on the right midway inside their own half. So the goals are flying in the other two games. It's now Atalanta 0, Bayern Munich 3. Just before the half-hour mark in Bergamo, Serge Gnabry this time, and it just gets worse for Tottenham Hotspur. Robin Lenormand has just scored a fourth for Atletico Madrid. So I mentioned Atletico beat Barcelona 4-0 in the first leg of their Copa del Rey semi-final. They actually incidentally scored all four of those goals inside the first half, but they've done it inside 25 minutes against sorry Tottenham, and it just goes from bad to worse for Spurs fans. We're the only game here so far at the 8 o'clocks without a goal. 29 minutes gone, Newcastle United 0, Barcelona 0. I'm Mark Strange, delighted to have you along with me. Just having out a goal doesn't mean we're not enjoying ourselves here. It's certainly been an entertaining game. Very even game so far, and Newcastle have very much given as good as they've got against the Barcelona side, who are top of La Liga by 4 points currently. Ronald Araujo being marched back to take that throw in from its rightful spot. Bernal nutmegs Ramsey, and Araujo sends that one long, a bit more of a hit and hope than anything else, but Rafinha nearly caught up to it. In the end, Ramsdale had to come out to the edge of his box to get that one. Tottenham have a goal back, 4-1 now. Let's see who scored that one in a moment. Here's Lewis Hall. Chow. Back to Byrne on the edge of the penalty area. Joe Linton tries to get past Yamal, can't do so. Not going to play for a throw-in. So we've played half an hour here now at St James's Park. Newcastle 0, Barcelona 0. As Chow strides away from Lewandowski, finds Hall. Now Barnes down the left, just too much on that one, and Harvey Barnsley stretched for that one, so the held the bottom was back. Hopefully that's not a serious issue for him. He seems to be okay, but one to keep an eye on there. Araujo takes a throw to Yamal and skips away from Barnes. Yamal to Pedri, who's immediately seized upon by Joelinton, and Joelinton wins the ball back. Oh, and he fouls Pedri. A late call there from Marco Guida. Joelinton with a wry smile on his face there. Someone look at this one. I mean, yeah, it is a free kick. He's taking Pedri out by the roots there a little bit, but it was the lateness of the call there is what really hurt Joelinton and the Newcastle fans. There's Joan Garcia, header won by Byrne over Lewandowski, but Lopez will get the loose ball on halfway, back to Araujo, and then rather awkwardly turns it back to his goalkeeper Garcia on the edge of the box, booms one forward, nodded down by Chow, picked up by Rafinha, who gets away from both Trippier and Ramsey, but Ramsey's going to stick with him. Tonali. Barnes looking for Sula over the top, far too long. It's Pedro Porro, by the way, who has got a goal for Tottenham, but just tuning in here, it's 4-1 to Atletico Madrid, 3-0 to Bayern Munich over Atalanta, and here it is goalless between Newcastle and Barcelona after Galatasaray defeated Liverpool 1-0 earlier. It looks like it's going to be up to Newcastle to try and get something for the English side as Elanga gets away down the right hand side, faced up by Cancelo. Elanga, who doesn't take the ball with him, but he manages to rescue it before Cancelo can nip in. Ramsey back to Trippier. Tonali. Elanga hits one left footer, an awkward one. Bounced in front of Joan Garcia, and he had a couple of dodgy spillages early in this one, so absolutely well within his rights to try one of those, Anthony Elanga, but this time the Barcelona goalkeeper holds on to it. Good stop in the end from him. He's under pressure there from Osula as he plays the goal kick short to Kubarsi. Rafinha skips away from Tonali and is brought down by the Italian, who is going to be booked by his countryman Marco Guida. First yellow card of the night goes the way of Sandro Tonali, and Eddie Howe is not happy with that decision, it's fair to say, but there's been a couple of those sort of niggling, almost professional fouls, just slowing down potential attacks or counter attacks, and that's one of them. I mean, the foul in itself I don't believe is anything near worth a yellow, but perhaps a combination of the professional foul and the accumulation of them means that Sandro Tonali is the unfortunate man to go into the book first. 34 minutes. Flick on there by Lopez in for Lewandowski, but Byrne gets to it first. Joelinton to Barnes on halfway. Joelinton back to Hall. Now Byrne on the edge of his own box, goes back into his box to Aaron Ramsdale. Saying Nick Pope, one of 3 Newcastle goalkeepers on the bench tonight. Now Trippier. The others, John Ruddy and young Aidan Harris, who would be remiss of me not to say that he spent the first half of this season on loan at Coleraine in the Northern Ireland Premiership. Now he's back on the bench for Champions League knockout ties. I mean, it's quite something for young Aidan Harris. Anyway, he's sitting watching his side here in a real battle with Barcelona. 10 minutes plus stoppage time to go at the end of this first half. Bernal now to Yamal midway inside the Newcastle half. Martin now on halfway. Kubarsi. Pedri trying to shake off Tonali. He'll need to be careful. There's on the booking. Pedri now out to Yamal on the right. Not a great touch from him, but he keeps it in. Now he's going to attack Lewis Hall, right corner of the penalty. Yamal cuts on his left foot, tries to clip one in for Lopez, but well read by Hall. Now Tonali will try and get it away. Was he fouled by Yamal? He was, but advantage played. Tonali comes away looking for Trippier. Oh dear, picked off by Cancelo. An advantage is over. Draw Cancelo into the box for Barcelona. Blocked by Thiaw. And Joelinton will get the loose ball for Pedri on the edge of the box. Trippier now stumbles. Rafinha. Newcastle gifting possession. Lopez straight at Ramsdale. Under pressure and Ramsey. And Kieran Trippier, after stumbling there, has stayed down. Appears to be holding maybe his groin, is it? Rafinha has come over to check on him. Some good sportsmanship there. Yep, I think he's caught his studs in the turf, and as he stretched to try and recover that one there, Kieran Trippier, he's maybe overstretched the groin. Meanwhile, when he was in the ground in pain, it was Rafinha cutting it back to Fermin Lopez, who was falling away to his right as he hit that one left-footed, but right down the throat of Aaron Ramsdale. So 36 minutes here. Kieran Trippier is on the ground, arms behind the back, arms behind the head. He's looking like he's in some considerable pain. So if you look at the bench here for Newcastle, there's an obvious immediate swap, and that is Tino Livramento, and he seems to be getting ready with haste. Rest that bench, mentioned the three keepers, Pope, Ruddy and Harris. We've got Sven Boltman, Johan Vissa, Anthony Gordon, Tino Livramento, Jacob Murphy, Nick Voltemata, Joe Willock, and then the youngsters Alex Murphy and Sean Neave. So a strong Newcastle bench for Eddie Howe to turn to for Barcelona. Plenty of quality on there. They have the two keepers, and Wojciech Szczesny and Diego Cocken. Against Gavi, Ferran Torres, Marcus Rashford, Mark Casado, Dani Olmo, Eric Garcia, Bruni Bargi, Alvaro Cortez, Xavi Espark and Tommy Marquez. And Kieran Trippier certainly looks in a bit of trouble here. He is back on his feet, and looks like he's going to at least try to come back at it here, so credit to him if he does. But as I say, there's a more than capable like-for-like sub currently getting warmed up. So Barcelona sportingly will give the ball back to Newcastle, to Aaron Ramsdale. And Kieran Trippier is back on, but is trotting back on rather gingerly. So he's only got 7 minutes to half time. Maybe he's told the physio, look, give me the half time, see how I do. We'll go from there. But here's Barcelona on the ball. Lewandowski loose pass though, and Byrne will pick it off. Ciao. Ramsey to Trippier. Let's see how he does here. Not really interested in much of a run. That's a great ball down the right line for Anthony Elanga. Elanga, right corner of the penalty, gets to the byline. Cross comes in. Oh, and Garcia came for it, didn't get. That was Osula and Kubarsi who were challenging for it at the back post. Neither get a touch on it. Ooh, Sula nearly got to that one. Big Danish striker is dangling a leg at it, but a step or two behind it. That's exactly the sort of place where you want Anthony Elanga putting balls in the box, and he gets a big thumbs up from Osula. Araujo goes into Lewandowski, gives it away straight to Osula. Challenged by Araujo, it's going to be for Ramsey. Ramsey's cut back is away by Martin. Good touch from him with a couple of Newcastle players steaming on that one. Now Yamal. Can Barcelona go on the counter now? A couple of step overs from Yamal. Trying to lose the shackles with Joelinton, and then looking for a ball down the right for Lopez, which is cut off by Lewis Hall. And then Yamal just steps right across Hall, and many insights in James's Park. Looking for a card there, but so far Marco Guida keeping that in his pocket. I'm sure Eddie Howe turning around and saying, well, if Sandro Tonali got one, surely that's worth one. There's no attempt to play the ball there at all from Lamine Yamal. Just steps right across Lewis Hall. Still see Tino Livramento warming up down there, so perhaps Kieran Trippier is not as well as he would like to let on. Araujo with a good slide tackle on Hall right on halfway. Hansi Flick gets in the way of Hall trying to take the long throw or take the quick throw. Whether he meant to or not, it slowed things down anyway. Now Byrne. Ramsdale, not a great pass. Ramsey controls well under pressure, and Bernal gets it away to Trippier, who again is more than capable of playing nice passes like that, but certainly is not really interested in doing too much running so far. Araujo takes the throw in. Back to Kuparsi, and now Garcia. Ooh, risky one to Martin under pressure from Malanga. He gets it to Cancelo, and now he's under pressure from Ramsey. So Barcelona not out of the woods yet, and Jacob Ramsey gives them an easy out there with a foul. It's actually on Pedri, my apologies, not Cancelo. It's one of those ones, if you're a Newcastle fan, you're going, don't foul him, don't foul him. And sure enough, Ramsey with a good chunk of Pedri's shirt in his left arm. That's enough for him to hit the deck, and for Marco Guida to give the free kick. Juan Garcia will take, not in much of a hurry, I must add. Perhaps quite happy for this one to tick down towards half-time, goalless. He's about 2.5 minutes plus any stoppage time remaining. Lewandowski wins a flick on now. Pedri on the left flank. 1-2 with Rafinha. Back inside for Cancelo. Now Bernal. Kuparsi now on halfway. Yamal tips on forward looking for Lopez. Byrne at a stretch does get a touch, and Lopez happy to let it run for a corner kick. So Barcelona perhaps will be happy enough to go for an attack here. I can see Araujo, Kuparsi and Martin striding into the penalty area. Lewandowski and Bernal already in there. Rafinha and Lopez are over to take this one. It's going to be Rafinha to take. Will he deliver into the box or play it short again? It hasn't really worked set piece wise so far. Barcelona. That's another poor one. Cleared away at the front post there by Osula. And that's going to be a throw in on the Barcelona right, midway inside the Newcastle half. Whether it's free kicks or corner kicks, certainly Barcelona's set pieces in this first half will be a sore point for Hansi Flick, as Kuparsi goes all the way back to Garcia on the edge of the box. Bernal midway inside his own half, back to Kuparsi. He and Martin and Araujo, as I said, came up for that corner and rather disgruntled made their way back without ever really having a chance to attack the ball. Rafinha gives that one away to Ramsey. Now Alanga, we're into the last minute of 45 here. Anthony Alanga, lovely footwork, goes to ground, looks for the return from Ramsey. Marco Guida gives the universal symbol for play on. Joelinton to Barnes. Barnes to the byline, clips it across, blocked behind the Araujo corner for Newcastle. And well, the Newcastle fans are certainly, well, it was Gerard Martin and Marc Bernal that Alanga went in between. And he was on the ground whenever Jacob Ramsey tried to play it back to him. But corner kick here is about to tick over the 45-minute mark. What sort of out of time will we have here? We're just a 1 out of minute, so we're into that now, and we're very much into last chance saloon for both these sides. Tonali, left hand in the air, right footed delivery, in it comes. In on top of the goalkeeper, headed back out by Rafinha. So everyone can stay where they are, including Sandro Tonali for another corner. And Newcastle are going to finish this first half on top. Chow, Burns, Osula, Jolinton, Barnes all lurking there. A lot of big men for Sandro Tonali to aim for. Here it comes again. Left hand in the air. Right for the delivery. Better this time, and Garcia punched that one away under pressure, and Barnes looped up into the air as a free kick out. Not sure whether it's for something on the goalkeeper or something else that Marco Guida saw, but that is going to do us for the first half here at St James's Park. A goalless first half it is, but an entertaining one, and certainly one that Eddie Howe, I'd imagine, will be the happier of the two managers, despite Barcelona having a few chances of their own. But at the break, we're still very evenly poised here. It's Newcastle United Hello and welcome back to St James's Park for the start of the second half here, where it's Newcastle United 0, Barcelona 0, after 45 minutes of this UEFA Champions League round of 16. First leg clash. No changes that I'm aware of at the break anyway. Kieran Trippier, despite his what looked a bit of a sore one to his groin in the first half, has appeared out for the second half, so that's good to see. Newcastle in their home strip, black and white shirts, black shorts, black socks. Yeah, Ramsdale, Trippier, Chow, Burn and Hall. In midfield, Tonali, Joelinton and Ramsey, with Barnes and Elanga in support of Osula through the middle. For Barcelona then, in their luminous orange change shirt tonight, it's Garcia, Araujo, Cubarsí, Martín, Cancelo, Pedri, Bernal, Lopez, Rafinha, Yamal, Lewandowski. Fairly even first half between these two. Bernal clears that one away for Barcelona. João has got a good old chunk of Robert Lewandowski's shirt there on halfway, as we see the Barcelona subs getting ready, including Marcus Rashford, who scored both goals here for Barcelona back in September in the round 1 win in the league phase, a 2-1 win that day. Also Anthony Gordon on the bench for Newcastle, who scored one late in that game. The bench for Newcastle, 3 goalkeepers: Nick Pope, John Ruddy, Aidan Harris. And it's Boatman, Sven Boatman, Johan Vissa, Anthony Gordon, Tino Livramento, Jacob Murphy, Nick Bolton-Mata, Joe Willock, Alex Murphy and Sean Neve. As Cancelo goes back to his goalkeeper Garcia, all in green. The Barcelona goalkeeper is opposite number Ramsey on light blue tonight for Newcastle. For Barcelona on the bench, they have 2 goalkeepers. As that's a foul by Ronald Araujo there, as he tries to break way down the right on Lewis Hall. So subs to Barcelona, 2 goalkeepers: Wojciech Szczesny and Diego Kochen. And they've Gavi, Ferran Torres, Marcus Rashford, Marc Casado, Dani Olmo, Eric Garcia, Rooney Bargi, Alvaro Cortez, Xavi Espart and Tommy Marquez to round out the bench for Hansi Flick's men. So free kick to be taken here by Aaron Ramsdale, just about 10 yards inside his own half. Booms one into the box. That's a difficult one. Good header one there by Bernal above Osula. Bernal again will win the second ball above Elanga. Ramsey keeps it alive, and Bernal again. That's a dreadful sliced volley clearance up into the Tyneside night sky as Joelinton wins it back, but now Barcelona have it again with Pedri. They'll try and go down the left and bring a bit of calm to the ball. Can't do so. He runs it over the sideline, and Trippier with a throw in down the line for Elanga. Bernal then pushes him nearly into the front row of the stand there. And that's a free kick for Newcastle, but again, our Italian official Marco Guida decides to keep his cards in his pocket for that one. Sandro Tonali, the only man booked in that first half for bringing down Rafinha as he tried to break away, but the home faithful certainly looking a little bit disgruntled at the lack of a card a couple of times in the first half, and that one too. But they have a free kick here. Kieran Trippier right on the right touchline. Black and white shirts and luminous orange shirts lining up around the edge of the penalty area. This one's right on the touchline, just about 18 to 20 yards from goal. Let's go to the Newcastle captain to deliver. Left hand in the air, right for the delivery. In it comes, takes a nick off the wall, which was comprised only of Fermin Lopez in a way, but Elanga just not really sure what that was. We sent it back in with absolutely no interest on at all, and it will bounce out for a goal kick. So 5 minutes gone in the second half here, this Champions League round of 16, first leg. Newcastle and Barcelona. Newcastle finished 12th in the league phase, meaning they had to go through the playoff round, but they eased through that one, beating Karabag of Azerbaijan 9-3 on aggregate, winning 6-1 away in Baku in a 3-2 win here. Ramsey. Challenge there by Lopez. Throw into Newcastle on the right hand side, midway inside their own half. Look at Newcastle results in the league phase. Of course, a 2-1 defeat here to Barcelona will kick it off. And then they went on a run of 3 wins without conceding. 4-0 against San Gilloise, 3-0 against Benfica, and 2-0 against Athletic Club. For a defeat on the road in Marseille, 2-1. 2-2 draw away at Leverkusen. 3-0 win at home to PSV, and then finishing with a 1-1 draw against Paris Saint-Germain. Was good for 14 points. It was actually only 2 behind Barcelona, who came 5th in the end. They were one of 4 teams to finish on 16 points, along with Chelsea, Sporting and Manchester City to make the top 8 for them after winning 2-1 here. It was a bit up and down, I must say. It was 2-1 win here, then defeat to Paris Saint-Germain, 2-1. 6-1 win away at Olympiacos. 3-0 draw with Brugge. There's a loose pass from Tonali. Throw in Barcelona on the right, midway inside the Newcastle half. 3-0 defeat away at Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. 2-1 win against Frankfurt. 4-2 against Slavia Prague. And then finishing with a 4-1 win against Copenhagen. That was enough to say for 5th, but incidentally only finished 2 points better off than Newcastle. So Newcastle survived that bit of pressure. Now they throw in their own on the left hand side, around 15 yards inside the Barcelona half, which Lewis Hall will take. Down the line looking for Tonali. It'll break for Osula. He was absolutely clattered into there by Pau Cubarsí and Fermin Lopez, but play on, says Marco Guida. Now Pedri. Good slide tackle on him by Joe Linton. Breaks for Fermin Lopez, though. He goes back to Cubarsí. And now Martin on the edge of his own box, who has luminous orange boots to match his kit. Now on the left for the former Manchester City and Bayern Munich man Joao Cancelo. His pass is cut out by a extended leg of Sandro Tonali. Malik Thiaw has it now and is being hustled by Robert Lewandowski. Advantage play by the referee as Newcastle still have possession. So elsewhere, this is one of 4 Champions League ties tonight. Earlier, the early kick-off is set at the same scoreline as were they in the league phase, as Galatasaray defeated Liverpool by a 0-0. In Istanbul, in Bergamo, Bayern Munich just 7 minutes in the second half, they've gone 4-0 up against Atalanta. Ooh, risky one there from Martin, but Pedri gets it back to Garcia. And well, the Metropolitano, it's Tottenham. Atletico Madrid 4, Tottenham 1. Atletico Madrid were 3-0 up inside 15 minutes, prompting Igor Tudor to sub out Antonin Kinski and put in Guillermo Vicario. He then proceeded to concede a 4th on 25 minutes before they did at least get one back through Pedro Porro, but it's looking like another miserable night for Tottenham fans. And while the Champions League is hardly high on their list of priorities right now, given their utterly dismal domestic form, they've certainly not been able to turn it around in a bit of a positive performance tonight. Good work there from Kieran Trippier to chase down Joao Cancelo. And now here's Malik Thiaw as Joe Linton has gone to ground but is okay. Here's Ramsdale on the edge of his own box. Gets it back to Thiaw under pressure from Yamal. Finds Thiaw again. There's it down the centre. There's Osula challenging with Martin. Bobbing around in there, and eventually it's Fermin Lopez brings it down. Now Mark Bernal. Robert Lewandowski challenged by Trippier, and Ramsdale come out and beat Yamal to that loose ball well. Good, brave goalkeeper from Ramsdale. Now here's a ball in behind for Osula. Osula from a narrow angle tried the shot and over the bar Newcastle attacking the Gallowgate end here in the second half, and they're roaring their side on. 10 minutes into the second half, still goalless though between Newcastle United and Barcelona. Lewis Hall getting forward there, and Osula finding space between Kubarsi and Martin. But in the end, his left-footed effort from a narrow angle couldn't keep it down or on target, so goal kick, but that will get the Newcastle fans well in this one. Tomorrow evening, by the way, the Champions League football continues here on Flash Score Fresh. We've got 3 games for you tomorrow evening. The early kick-off is Bayer Leverkusen against Arsenal. It's 5:45 GMT. And then later on we've got Paris Saint-Germain v Chelsea and Real Madrid v Manchester City. That 4th goal, by the way, for Bayern Munich, scored by Nicholas Jackson away at Atalanta. Then Thursday evening too, we've 3 games, 2 in the Europa League and 1 in the Conference League. Now as Elanga sprints away from Kubarsi. Elanga across goal, just too close to Garcia. He had Osula and Barnes arriving there, the Swedish international, but just too close to the Barcelona goalkeeper to be able to dive on it. And here's Pedri midway inside his own half. On Thursday evening, early kick-off in the Europa League is Lille against Aston Villa. In the later game, Nottingham Forest against Midtjylland, and also in the Conference League, Crystal Palace against AEK Larnaca. So still plenty of European action to come this week before the Premier League returns this weekend. We've got a bumper fixture schedule for you this weekend. Marco Guida is a foul against his countryman Sandro Tonali. He needs to be careful already on the yellow card. We've got 11 games for you, by the way, on Saturday. Six of them from the Premier League, as well as Bundesliga, Eredivisie, La Liga and MLS action on Saturday. So we'll not run you through the entire schedule, but you know where to go for the big games. There's a shot from Barnes in the left corner of the penalty area, trying to catch out Joan Garcia, can't do so. He holds on to it. I mentioned earlier that Harvey Barnes was maybe holding the base of his back there, and he sort of did it again after releasing that shot. So hopefully he's okay. It's both he and Kieran Trippier looking a little bit worse for wear. Now there's Ramsey in behind for Elanga. Right hand side of the penalty. Elanga blocked this time by Cancelo, and he clears it away. Barcelona under pressure. Lopez flicks that one over the head of Thiaw, and now away come Barcelona. Fermin Lopez has options left and right in the side of him. Finds Rafinha, left corner of the penalty area. Rafinha back across to Yamal. Lopez trying to get back to Yamal, but a combination of Tonali and Hall will get it away. And now Lewis Hall will come away for Newcastle. Up over halfway. Really, this game opening up here as we approach the hour mark. Hall just too long for Osula, and Cancelo gets that one before Elanga, and that's a corner kick to Newcastle. So good counter-attacking football there from Eddie Howe's men, and that has won them a corner kick. Lewis Hall really is just a bundle of energy. His ball was a bit too long for William Osula, but Anthony Elanga forcing Joao Cancelo to play that one on the back post, and it's a Newcastle United corner. The Gallowgate end behind the goal will try and suck this ball into the net. Their right-footed outswinger from their captain, Kieran Trippier. Floats in the back post, that's a good one. Up goes Thiaw, as does Martin. Loops up in there, now Pedri and Thiaw will challenge for it in the corner, and Thiaw, oh, he did win it back, but he just bundled it over the line for a goal kick in the end. So as we hit the hour mark here, St James's Park, Barcelona have certainly been the side with their backs to the wall since the restart. Still goalless here though. We look at the options on the bench, so Freddie Howe, I mentioned them. You can see a couple of them there. Anthony Gordon, Johan Vissa, Tino Livramento, Jacob Murphy, Nick Voltamata, Joe Willock, among others. He's also got Sven Boatman, Alex Murphy and Sean Neve as outfield options, so there's real quality to turn to for the Newcastle manager. Likewise Hansi Flick, as that's a strange goal kick there as Lewandowski and Byrne end up on the ground grappling for it, but it's a big Polish striker, gets the way to Rafinha. Yamal, edge of the box. Yamal tries to get between Joe Linton and Byrne, two big men, but it'll deflect away into the right hand corner where Yamal will go and get it. Faced up by Hall, good delivery in. Byrne, header up into the air. Ramsdale challenges for it, ends up coming off the bar and over the top for a corner. Lewandowski and Ramsdale challenging for it nearly underneath the crossbar, but in the end, Dan Byrne's looping header, clipping the top of the bar and its way over for a corner. Darren Ramsdale got a tip onto it to tip it over as well, just to make sure. So corner kick coming up here now for Barcelona. So we have a left footer in swinger from Rafinha. Their first half corners weren't great, but Araujo gets up to win that one at the front post, and he said the last touch on a black and white shirt, but that's a corner or a goal kick. Indeed it was. Araujo who got up in front of Chao but couldn't put his header on goal. Alanga skips away from the challenge of Cancelo. Down the right hand touchline, now in line with the edge, 18-yard box on the touchline. Coming across really well there just to nick off his toes is Pedri. Bernal is clattered there by Ramsey. Marco Guida had the whistle to his lips there but chose to play on. Barcelona are still just edging possession, 56-44 after 63 minutes, but certainly it feels like they've had their backs to the wall a lot more in this second half. By the way, now at the Metropolitano, it is now 5-1 to Atletico Madrid over Tottenham. Second goal of the game for Julian Alvarez. So, by the looks of it tonight, it's going to be up to Newcastle to try and get a result for the three English sides. Liverpool couldn't do it. Tottenham almost certainly aren't going to do it. Newcastle will be desperate to at least get a goal on. I know away goals aren't a thing anymore, but try and take even a narrow lead to the new camp next week. Chao finds Osula in the centre circle. Good play from the big Danish forward. Goes back to Tonali. Now Trippier on the right touchline on halfway. Still no sign of any movement either bench, so both managers keeping their cards close to their chest here. 64 minutes gone. There's over the top looking for one of Barnes, and Garcia has to come out of his box and clears that one into touch. So Eddie Howe deep in conversation there with a couple of his assistants. As Barcelona have the ball back now, Garcia on the edge of the box clips it forward, and Lewandowski feels like he was pulled back there by Dan Byrne, but Marco Guida disagrees. And now Byrne goes back to Ramsdale. Byrne under pressure from Rafinha. Gets a pass away to Trippier, whose clearance isn't very convincing. Pedri gets ahead in now. Bernal. A bit loose and a bit heavy for Lopez, and Thiago comes away now. Hall. The Barnes up over halfway on the left. Hall is overlapping. Just so much energy, and he gets on the end of it now. Lewis Hall down the left. Hall cuts it back. Ramsey can't control it. Kubarsi's header away, not convincing. Tonali hits it, slices it. Tonali again blocked up in the air with Kubarsi, and it will land nicely into the gloves of Juan Garcia. So Lewis Hall again doing brilliantly, getting down the left flank. Jacob Ramsey's initial touch was heavy. Clearing header from Kubarsi only as far as Tonali, who had a couple of bites at the cherry in the second one. Was deflected by Kubarsi in this goalkeeper's gloves. Here's Rafinha for Lewandowski. Oh, boy, that was as close as Barcelona have come in a long time, if not all game. Rafinha's cut back, Lewandowski just couldn't steer it into the far corner. Fairly route one there, Cancelo to Rafinha down the left. And the cut back to Lewandowski, getting in front of Dan Burn. Sliding in there. Getting a right foot to it, almost like a studs to it. Not a great contact, but almost enough into the corner. It's going to be a triple change here now for Newcastle. The first sub is going to see Anthony Gordon replace William Osula. We're going to see Tino Livramento come on for Kieran Trippier. We'll see hands the armband to Dan Burn. And our final sub is going to be Anthony Elanga off and Jacob Murphy on. So just to confirm then, those three subs for Newcastle coming off: Trippier, Elanga and Osula, and on Livramento, Murphy and Gordon. I say that the strength and depth tonight for Eddie Howe is great, and he's certainly utilising it there. So triple sub then. 3 of his 5 used by Eddie Howe. One fell swoop. Hansi Flick still not turning to his bench. Burton now adorning the captain's armband. Wins a good header over Lewandowski, and Joelinton gets the second ball before Fermin Lopez. Here's first touch from Murphy, and he's had the legs swiped from underneath him by Joao Cancelo, and there's some ironic cheers around St James's Park as Marco Guida does get a yellow card out for Barcelona player for the first time. Murphy, first touch, welcomed into the game there by just having been taken out by the roots there by Joao Cancelo. And the Portugal international, quite rightly, gets a caution from our Italian official. Barcelona fan, or Newcastle fan, sorry, will tell you that it should have come before now. So we're going to see the man who did the damage here back in September with his double in the 2-1 win. Marcus Rashford is getting ready, as is Dani Olmo for Barcelona. So Hansi Flick now he is going to use some of the bullets in the chamber here. Gordon. That's with Livramento, blocked. Kept in by Yamal, but at a cost, gives it straight to Harvey Barnes. Now Hall, looking for Gordon, but Bernal will just nod it out for a throw. Around 25 yards from goal on the left. Gordon takes it quickly to Hall. Barcelona haven't reacted. Hall with delivery into the back post. Murphy over the top. Jacob Murphy arriving late at the back post. Steers a left footed volley over the bar. Big chance there for Murphy. Just couldn't keep it down. It's a big chance for the Magpies, but that will now get these two subs ready to come on for Barcelona. The first one, Dani Olmo is going to replace Pedri as we hit 69 minutes here at St James's Park. The second change, well, it's going to see the end of Robert Lewandowski's evening. He doesn't often complete 90 minutes these days, so 70 for the masked man up front. He had a decent chance there just before being removed, so that's Pedri and Lewandowski off, Olmo and Rashford on here for Barcelona. You might see, well, really it's a front three now for Barcelona where anybody's pretty much interchangeable. First touch for Rashford and a first touch for Olmo, who's fouled there by Ramsey. So free kick to Barcelona just outside their own penalty area. So instead it's a front three now for Barcelona, very much capable of interchanging of Rafinha, Yamal and Rashford, any of whom are capable of playing really anywhere across the front three. Things are getting ugly in Bergamo, by the way. 20 minutes to go, isn't it? Atalanta 0, Bayern Munich 6. What a scoreline that is to Vincent Kompany's men. It's still 5-1 at the Metropolitano for Atletico Madrid over Tottenham, so we're very much behind on the goals here, but not in the drama. And it's been a thoroughly enjoyable game here at St James's Park. Free kick to be taken there by Araujo. Goes across to Kubarsi, and now Bernal. Back to Kubarsi. Martin. Cancelo on the left touch side. Well blocked by Livramento. Throw in. Cancelo gets the throw in back from Olmo. And again, Dani Olmo now into the centre circle. Sick firing goal, by the way, scored by Jamal Musiala. What a wonderful footballer he is. There's Olmo. Bernal. Bit loose there, but Jamal and Olmo keep it together. Kubarsi now. Clips one forward down the right for Bernal to chase, but far too much sauce on it. And well, I was going to say Ramsdale let it run out, but he doesn't. He keeps it in, but Marc Bernal is now sat down here after trying to chase that one. I don't know if he's felt maybe a hamstring, or that's just cramp. Hansi Flick certainly looks concerned on the Barcelona bench, and Marc Bernal is feeling a hamstring there, I think. Fingers crossed, nothing too serious for him, but that will give us a bit of a stoppage here on 72 minutes. And a reminder again, there's 3 more commentaries tomorrow evening for you here on Flash Score Official. In the Champions League last 16, we've got Bayer Leverkusen v Arsenal, the early kick-off. And then we have Paris Saint-Germain against Chelsea and Real Madrid against Manchester City. So 3 real mouth-watering ties, and indeed, you can see the moment there Marc Bernal pulls up. He's not happy. It looks as though it's going to be his namesake Marc Casado who is going to come on and replace him here. Indeed, on comes Marc Casado for Marc Bernal. So both sides now with 2 subs remaining, as we've got 17 minutes plus stoppage time to go here in this Champions League round of 16. First leg tie between Newcastle and Barcelona. Ramsdale on the edge of his box. Slips and gets the pass away to Thiago. Now Livramento under pressure there from Cancelo. Gets the pass inside to Ramsey. Thought he was fouled by Olmo, not coming. Fermin Lopez thought he was fouled by Livramento, none coming. So Marco Guida letting plenty go here. Murphy to Tonali, now Livramento over halfway for Newcastle, in behind for Anthony Gordon. Gordon's in the right hand corner of the penalty area. Gordon got the back edge of the box. Murphy has Barnes to his left, finds him. Barnes on the right foot tries to curl one off the post. Joelinton's in there, it's in. Newcastle lead. Oh, there's an offside flag up. There's an offside flag up. St James's Park can settle down. I can settle down. It won't count. Well, who's offside there? How long back are we going to look at this one? It's not Anthony Gordon. It can't be Gordon. On the end of Livramento's pass, his cut back to Murphy in the edge of the box, did really well to get to Barnes. As well, it's Joelinton, he's miles offside. Comes back off the post. Joelinton reacts quicker than Martin, and well, you see a Newcastle fan there wagging his finger at the linesman, almost like we see the players do. But I think whenever he sees that one again, he'll realise that when he could have driven a bus between Joelinton and the last Barcelona defender there. But so close for Newcastle. That's the close either side have come there. Harvey Barnes striking the post, and well, Joelinton had the ball in the net, but very clearly the Brazilian was offside. Livramento now, that If nothing else, that will certainly get the home crowd even more into this, as if they needed more invitation. So looking ahead, still 50 minutes to go here, but these two meet at the new camp again a week tomorrow. Between now and then, Newcastle, as I say, 12th in the league. Things haven't been going great domestically for Eddie Howe's men, but they face a tough trip to Stamford Bridge to take on Chelsea on Saturday. For Barcelona, well, things have been going great, it has to be said. They're top of the league, 4 points clear, and they host Sevilla on Sunday. As now down the left hand side comes Barnes. Joe Linden tries to go past Casado, but he gets in the way. Now Byrne challenged him by Rafinha, and Tonali nearly loses it. Chow to Ramsey. Now Livermento. Over the top, the one for Livermento to chase, but across comes Martin and plays that one well. I think his clearance off of Tino Livermento, but it's offside anyway, so another offside flag. And well, with 13 minutes plus stoppage time to go, and both attacks have largely been stunted in this game, but Harvey Barnes coming a post width away and giving Newcastle the lead. Dan Byrne nods that one back to his goalkeeper Aaron Ramsdale. Byrne, who has taken over the captaincy duty since Kieran Trippier was removed. Ramsdale now booms one forward, right footed. Cancelo wins the header over Livermento. Rashford and Thiaw challenge there on the touchline, and it's going to be a Newcastle throw in. Despite Rashford's protest to the contrary. Malik Thiaw, formerly of Schalke and AC Milan, the big German defender. Murphy to Gordon. Oh, you can see he's trying to find Livermento, but Martin gets in the way. And now that one from Casado was too high for Lopez, so Thiaw will just steer it back to Ramsdale, who clears before Yamal can get anywhere near him. Joelinton to Hall down the left. Hall in behind for Barnes. That's close again. Garcia thought it would come off his line. Has to go back. Hall, Barnes. Good block there from Kubarsi, and Barnes goes to ground on a challenge from Araujo. We're still hacking around the edge of the box here. Joelinton. There's Hall again. Hall delivers. Martin has to just volley that one behind for a corner kick, and he looks furiously over the linesman, looking for an offside call that never came. So instead, Barcelona have to defend a corner in front of the Gallowgate end. 11 minutes plus stoppage time to go here. Can somebody edge ahead of next week's second leg? It's going to be Sandro Tonali to deliver this one, right footed in swinger. It's a decent delivery, a couple of bodies on the ground there. It's Gordon and Casado. Joelinton will get the second ball. Now Tonali gets past his man who slips. Tonali across the way and back in and over the top by Jacob Ramsey. And Newcastle, another attacking spell goes by the wayside there. I don't think Gordon felt the heat of being bumped off the ball there by Mark Casado. Headed away out to Hall, back to Joelinton. Tonali went past Rafinha, who slipped. Kubarsi got it away, and then Ramsey's first time effort took a nick. So we have another corner for Newcastle. This one left footed in swinger by Lewis Hall. In it comes. Garcia punches away. Livermento midway inside is the Barcelona half. Will go back to Ramsdale. Sends it forward again. Away by Martin. He could have left that one for his goalkeeper, but instead he gets it back off of Rashford. Now Cancelo. 10 minutes plus stoppage time to go here at St James's Park. You're listening to the live Champions League round of 16. First leg action here in Newcastle United and FC Barcelona. Goalless between these two. Alright, Rashford left corner of the penalty area. That ball's too long for Lopez, but Yamal will keep it in on the right hand touchline, around 25 yards from goal. Casado. After Kubarsi. Olmo. Araujo. Martin. Cancelo on the left touchline. Rashford to Olmo. Over the top for Rashford. Brings it down well out of the sky. England international. Back inside for Cancelo. Araujo. Tottenham have another goal back in the Metropolitan. 5-2 now to Atletico Madrid. Martin to Olmo, midway inside Newcastle half. A goal coming the way of Dominic Solanke, who was a half-time sub, but still another sorry night. Barney late dramatics for Tottenham. Araujo now, back to Kubarsi inside his own half, and is this maybe a sign that Barcelona are maybe happy with their lot? They'll be happy to effectively try to beat Newcastle on home turf next week with a clean slate. You always feel that way whenever first leg finishes 0-0. It's almost like it's just wiped. And it's just a straight up shootout for a place in the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Now throw in Barcelona on the right, to be taken by Ronald Araujo. Takes it back off Olmo. Then volleys it forward. Livramento beats Rashford to it. Now Martin to Rafinha. Nice pass on the turn. Rashford left corner of the penalty area. Marcus Rashford on his right foot. Can he do damage again at St James's Park? Good block by Ramsey. Byrne, was he pushed by Lopez? No, he wasn't. Cleared away by Ramsey. Eventually the foul is given for a push there by Fermin Lopez on Dan Byrne. I have to say the big man certainly sold it. But Rashford there linking up with Rafinha. It's dangerous, but a good block from Jacob Ramsey. And then certainly Lopez has two hands in the back of Dan Byrne, but Newcastle captain making sure that Marco Guida saw that and gave it. And now Ramsey will take the free kick just on inside the penalty areas. We're going to see Joe Willock join us shortly here for Barcelona, for Newcastle. Hasn't made a transfer in mid-game, don't worry, Newcastle fans. Araujo wins the header from the goal kick. Yamal back inside the Lopez. Orange shirts pouring forward. One of them is Rashford. He finds him. Rashford to the back post loop for Araujo. Was just too long for the Uruguayan. Stretches and well, I think he's got himself a bit of cramp there, Ronald Araujo, and he's just sort of shuffling his way back onto the pitch to make sure there's a bit of a stoppage in play rather than off the pitch. And now Marco Guida, I think, is trying to tell him, I saw what you did there. Yep, just trying to get the stretch going, and now Now all of a sudden Ronda Rousey saying, can it come back on? So it's all happening here. 5 minutes plus stoppage time left at the end of this one. Tonali. On the outside now, good ball down the right for Livramento. Murphy's overlapping, but Livramento ignores him and cuts inside. Right to Tonali. Out to Murphy on the right flank, in line with the edge of the penalty area. Nice 1-2, and he and Ramsey. Murphy gets it in there. Oh, there's a chance. Oh, there's a goal. Harvey Barnes, with 4 minutes to go, has put Newcastle in front. A pinpoint cross from Jacob Murphy. Picks out Harvey Barnes. Garcia got a hand to it. Couldn't keep it out. And it is Newcastle United 1, Barcelona 0, with 4 minutes of normal time to go. Big goal in this one for Newcastle. And it's Harvey Barnes who's got it. As they take the lead, and you have to say, on the basis of this game, they just about deserve. The Barcelona defence goes missing at the back post. Now Barnes could just cushion one in on the volley. Tonali to Murphy on the right. Lovely link up between he and Ramsey. He stays onside just about. Barnes is onside, no question. Whatever happened there, the Barcelona defence, for some reason, it was Rafinha. He appears to have not tracked his man. Barnes just side-footing in. Garcia is scrambling across his line. It hits him in the face and nestles in the side of the net. And St James's Park erupts. Harvey Barnes makes it Newcastle United 1, Barcelona 0. And are we on course for another famous night at St James's Park? There was a brief goal check there. I did it for you, didn't realise I was doing it. It looked alright to me. It looks alright to the officials. Marco Guida points to the centre circle. And Newcastle have the lead in this tie. As we're going to see a Barcelona sub here now. Double sub here. As first of all, Fermin Lopez is off. Ferran Torres is on. And then our other sub. We're going to see Ronald Araujo removed. And we're going to see a first team debut for the 18-year-old defender Xavi Esprat. He'll go in at right back. So that's Araujo and Lopez off, and Esprat and Torres on. As Barcelona look to find a leveller on the night. Newcastle currently look as if they're going to head to the Nou Camp next week with a narrow lead over the La Liga leaders, Barcelona. The 5-time Champions League winners, albeit their last victory, believe it or not, coming coming back in 2015. 11 years since the Champions League trophy came back to Catalunya. Nice flick on from Rafinha to Torres. Torres slips, but he and Chow challenge, and then Chow comes away with it. Joelinton, he's barged into by Torres. That's a free kick in the centre circle for Newcastle. There's Harvey Barnes' goal that has Newcastle in front, and Newcastle fans really dreaming here. Even a goal down next week is still going to be a tough, or a goal up at the Nou Camp next week if it stays like this, it's still going to be a tough ask, but my goodness me. Anytime you get a home win against one of the giants of European and world football in Barcelona, it's a wonderful night, and Harvey Barnes is going to get himself a round of applause here just as we go into 4 minutes of stoppage time. The goal scorer for Newcastle soaks in the applause as he makes a slow walk to the sideline. He's replaced by Joe Willock. We saw that change was coming a moment ago, and now Eddie Howe does bring on Willock, perhaps not for whoever he was going to bring him on for previously, but he's on now. So Harvey Barnes off, Joe Willock on. As I say, we're into 4 added minutes here. Ramsdale takes the free kick, knockdown. Maybe there's more in this for Newcastle. Gordon spinning, turning, gets a back hit away. Burns in there, Chow's in there. Good clearance by Esprat. Now it's with Willock. Back to Ramsey. And away by Kubarsi. Livermento hits one. Blocked by Torres. It spins away onto the left wing for Rashford. But that's a terrible spin in that ball. He can't control it and he fouls Anthony Gordon. It's a free kick to Newcastle on the right hand side. Just about on halfway. And Kieran Trippier is gesturing over to that from the sideline just to slow things down. Even from the bench, he's still leading his side. Tonali and Joelinton will take this one slow. Tonali sends one in deep. Chow wins the knockdown away on the edge of the box by Rashford. Now Cancelo looking for Rashford again. Livermento though nods it down. Gets it back off Joelinton. Tonali away from Olmo. Joelinton again. Cancelo gets a toe in there, but Byrne is going to beat Rashford to that one. Livermento to Willock. Ramsey. Willock now on the left hand touchline for Newcastle, taking on the youngster Espart on debut. Willock gets past him, but Espart does well, really well to recover. Great slide tackle, and away comes Jamal now for Barcelona, but he gives it away. Murphy beats Olmo to it. Murphy still battling in there, but it'll come away now for Jamal. He's going to give one for Rafinha. She hits Rafinha on the back as he tries to chase it away. And now there's Espart again, challenging this time with Joelinton. He's certainly putting himself about the youngster. Jamal, that's a pullback from Willock surely. Free kick, and Willock only on the pitch there. 2 minutes, picks up a yellow card. He'll be happy enough if that stops the Barcelona attack. One final look at the other two games, by the way. In stoppage time in Bergamo, it's Atalanta 0, Bayern Munich 6. So I think it's safe to say we can safely book the German champions' place in the quarter-final. And also another dismal night for Tottenham, albeit when they were 3-0 down in 15 minutes with their goalkeeper subbed off. Could have been a lot worse, but it's 5-2 there. As Rashford delivers one, headed away. Olmo slips, hits Tonali, he claims a hand, but away comes Tonali. Is there another one in this for Newcastle? Gordon on halfway. Has Ramsey beyond him. We'll look for Tonali, but Tonali would have needed a motorbike to get to that one, but we're just about finished here. The 4 minutes are almost up. Now it's Rafinha. Is he going to push forward here at Barcelona, or are they just going to take their lot and say, we'll fancy it at just a 1-goal deficit? Who knows? Such is the delicate balance of these two-legged European Cup ties. Cancelo cuts inside Murphy. Maybe it's time for one more attack for Hansi Flick's men. Rafinha around 30 yards from goal. Danny Olmo, still going. Olmo, penalty Barcelona, and there is going to be a chance here for Barcelona in the dying seconds to get themselves level and go back to the Nou Camp. And what a blow that it could be for Newcastle United. Well, over the 4 minutes. And it's heads and hands time around St James's Park. It's a stonewaller. Malik Thiaw has caught Danny Olmo there. And he has given Barcelona a way back into this one. And potentially we could well be going back to the Camp Nou next week on level terms. Newcastle are certainly going to make sure this free kick or penalty, takes as long as it possibly can to try and maybe play some mind games here. There's going to be Lamine Yamal against Aaron Ramsdale here, deep in stoppage time, potentially the last kick of the game here from the spot to send this game back to the new camp next week on level terms and cancel out Harvey Barnes' goal. He can barely watch on from the dugout. Yamal versus Ramsdale. Here he comes. Yamal steps up, scores, bottom corner, 1-1, and Barcelona are going to be coming back home next week on level terms after all. Yamal shrugs his shoulders to the Newcastle fans in celebration, and that is going to be a real sickener for Eddie Howe's men. Malik Thiaw, who had a great game up until now, just dangled the leg at the wrong time, and Danny Olmo happy to go over it in the box. Yamal, that's as cool as you like. Sends Ramsdale the wrong way, left footed, low to the keeper's right, bottom corner.